Supercell nerfed the end of season rewards in this most recent update. I went and shared a bunch of feedback that I told you guys about to Supercell, and they actually buffed the rewards once the update was released. So how do the rewards compare now to before the update? Stick around and we're going to talk about just that. Hello fellow brawlers, I'm KairosTime and it is time to brawl. Now today's video is a 100% honest review of the most recent update. I do this after every single update and I'm 100% honest with the things that I like and also the things that I don't like. As usual, I have some positive and negative things to talk about for this update. Now at the end of this video, I'm going to be rating this update on a scale from 1 being the worst to 10 being the best, so make sure you guys stick around for the end because my rating might actually surprise you. Let's start off by talking about the end of season rewards first, and then we'll move on to my opinions of the two new characters, Byron and Edgar. Now, if you watched my sneak peek on the update where I covered all of the balance changes, then you know that the rewards that we're getting at the end of the seasons is getting a pretty steep nerf, at least for right now, but they will get better. I'm not gonna bore you guys with all of the numbers and the math, so let me just give you the very short story, okay? If you pushed 25 trophies every 2 weeks for the lowest tier of rewards in the old system, your star point rewards were going to get nerfed by 57% for the first month. But because you lose less trophies with each season, after 4 months from now, you would actually start earning more star points from the same amount of trophy pushing, okay? Now, my feedback to Supercell was that first month's rewards needed to be better, and also that we need to start earning more rewards sooner than 4 or 5 months. It's actually 5 months. So 4 months from now, it becomes equal, and 5 months is when the rewards start to get better. And how did they respond? They buffed the rewards at the lower trophy count, so the players who were over, or anywhere from 500 to like 624 trophies would actually earn more rewards for the first month in comparison to what they were originally going to be. It's actually up from a 57% nerf to a 43% nerf, which is a big improvement, okay? That is better than what it was going to be. Now, after 624 trophies, the rewards are actually going to remain exactly the same. This means it is still going to take about 4 months to start earning the same amount of rewards that we were before this change, pushing only 25 trophies per brawler every 2 weeks. But after that point, we should start to earn more rewards. Unfortunately, Supercell did not decide to buff the rewards across all trophy counts like I had hoped that they would, but I understand their reasoning because we're talking about changes that are going to impact Brawl Stars for forever, not just like these next 4 months. Like, it's going to have a very big impact on the players like me who are loving the game and are planning on playing it for years from now, right? Either way though, I really love that they listened to the feedback, that they actually considered the community and how we would respond to it and made very quick improvement literally the day of the update though. No other game developer is going to be able to do a turnaround like that with such a quick response. And this is actually one reason why the small development teams in Supercell can be better than larger development teams in other games, because they actually have to go through fewer like regulations and red tape and stuff like that, okay? Now the good news is that if you push more trophies, you're going to lessen these progression nerfs by a lot, and it is going to be much easier to push higher and higher in trophies eventually and as time goes on. And that actually brings me to my next point that I wanted to talk about, and that is the new sense of progression that is coming with these changes. It looks like I'm still wearing eyeliner a little bit. It's hard to wash off from, well, my most recent video, guys. Make sure to watch that if you haven't already. I was definitely one of the people who were like stuck around the 525 trophy mark, right? I used to push all my brawlers up to like 600 trophies every 2 weeks, but Supercell kept on releasing more and more brawlers, so it would become more of a time requirement every single time. And eventually, I just unlocked all the star point skins that I wanted, so I just kind of like started pushing my brawlers to like 550 trophies, and the push from 525 to 550, that yielded the absolute most rewards for the least amount of effort. And it's not like I didn't want to play Brawl Stars. I wanted to. I would just like push a couple of brawlers like as high as I wanted to when I was having really fun with them. But every other brawler, that was the minimum that I did, with like 550 each season. And it sounds like I was not the only person that was doing this, because Supercell told me that the game had a lot of very overskilled players like me doing this exact same thing, okay? And for players like me, it made pushing actually like incredibly easy. Well, not really pushing. It made doing the bare minimum incredibly easy, because I could just carry each match because the enemies that I was facing just, well, I was at a much higher skill level than them. But that came at the expense of the less skilled players who got faced up against me, right? They just got to the 500 trophy mark and they aren't as good at the game as I am. And so they just get stomped. And honestly, it didn't really feel like there was any sense of progression for me. And the gameplay became a little bit more like mundane and just whatever, because I wasn't actually trying to improve any skills or anything like that. You guys kind of get the idea. And honestly, progression just felt like it was going nowhere, except for when a brand new brawler would come out. And now now I feel like I have a reason to push my brawlers again, and that's something I'm really excited about. Now, although pushing trophies is going to be more challenging as I start facing more skilled players, I think that's really good design from a game development perspective, and I can really get behind that. Plus, although it will take some time for this to happen, I am going to start earning more rewards. And honestly, I'm gonna be pushing more than I was before. So probably like 3-ish months from now. And I'm planning on playing Brawl Stars for a long time, so I'm definitely gonna benefit from that. Up next, we're gonna talk about Byron, and then we'll talk about Edgar. When I first saw Byron and I heard that he was going to complete the Barley and Piper trio, I honestly was not a fan, okay? At first, I felt like, you know, Barley and Piper had this positive Old Town vibe to them, and Byron seemed kind of like a snake. He was gonna come and ruin all of that positivity, right? Because he is kind of a snake. But after playing him and learning that he's like a kind of a con artist, right? Like a snake oil salesman, it finally hit me that Barley and Piper have something in common that separates them from the 3 other old Western brawlers, namely Colt, Shelly, and Spike. Barley and Piper sell products. Barley sells drinks and Piper makes baked goods to sell to people. I mean, obviously we learned this from like her Piper animation where she was baking baked goods, right? And then her second gadget is called Homemade Recipe, and she has voice lines like, "Give me some sugar." I mean, now looking back, it looks like so totally obvious, but for some reason I just didn't get it until Byron was put into the game, and he really pulled that trio together perfectly and helped me separate their trio away from Spike, Colt, and Shelly, who were also old Westerns. So that was really cool to me. Now, as for his in-game mechanics, I love them. They're super unique and they really add a lot of strategy to the game. Now, honestly, it can be really annoying to accidentally hit like a teammate because the teammate is 1/3 of a tile closer than the enemy was. And your teammate's at full health, but the enemy's just one shot from dying, right? Like, super annoying, really frustrating when that happens. And I've seen a lot of people suggest that his attack should like pass through teammates if they are at full HP. I think that's a decent suggestion, but the idea that I came up with is a little bit more like if his attack vials explode on impact. So only if they hit a brawler, if they hit a teammate or an enemy, then they would explode, and the explosion wouldn't be very big, but it would be big enough that hitting a teammate who's like within 1 tile of an enemy would result in Byron's attack dealing damage to the enemy and healing your teammate. Now, there's a chance that this would be like too strong, right? Like obviously this is changing him from being a single target attack to being able to deal AoE damage, and that's a really big buff, but I do feel like he kind of feels a little bit weak right now, and he could use a little bit of a buff. Now, I haven't pushed him up very high in trophies, so that opinion could absolutely change as I push him up more, but I have a good idea that he's going to feel a little bit weak, and I'll update you guys on a video in the future when I do have some more experience with him. I am curious to know what you guys think about this idea, so let me know in the comment section below if you think this is too strong or if you would like this on Byron. Now let's talk about Edgar, and then we'll talk about pins and skins. I love Edgar's character design. If you did not watch my video unboxing of him, make sure you do because it might shock you. Like I said, the eyeliner is still on a little bit from that. Yeah. So, ugh. I can't tell you how many times I was making a sneak peek video for Byron and I would just bust up laughing because of one of his voice lines. He is so funny. His personality, he has so much of it, and I love that the effort that Supercell put into this design. It's pretty clear that the gift shop trio, including Edgar and Colette, is full of big personalities, and I'm pretty excited to see what they're going to do for the 3rd trio member. Now, as for Edgar's game mechanics, I think Supercell did such an amazing job creating another melee brawler who also feels unique, right? Obviously, he's very similar to El Primo in a lot of different ways. His attack is close range. He has a jump super, very similar to El Primo. With his star power, it even deals damage when he lands. But it's really important that you play him differently than El Primo because he has so little HP and he heals. Yes, Edgar crashed the game just like I thought I would. And honestly, I don't know if Supercell could have planned for what happened. So many players were playing Brawl Stars, like way more than like Supercell is normally used to. Also, everybody was playing Edgar. So like, they don't normally have to worry about that. And so after that happened, obviously, I feel like they did a pretty good job at patching things quickly after the servers exploded. They were up by the time I woke up that morning. So, I mean, it was within a few hours at least. But even though it does get kind of annoying having Edgar flood the entire meta for a few days, I've actually had a lot of fun with it. Now, I still don't know if Edgar is too strong or too weak or balanced, but I will be doing a video talking about that in the future. I really think that Edgar is going to be a great addition to the game. Now let's talk about pins and skins skins, and then I'm going to talk about balance changes. I actually don't have a whole lot to say about the skins. I think the skins were priced pretty well with my opinion of them all, and I'm glad that Nutcracker Gale is going to be a permanent skin, not a limited time only one. And I like that Supercell's releasing more true gold and true silver skins. I will say, I know this sounds a little silly, but I'm a little disappointed that Warrior Bow skin is only going to cost 30 gems. Just hang on for a second before you get your free-to-play pitchforks out there and roast me in the comment section. It's not because he's poorly priced. I feel like he is a good 30 gem skin, and I like that Supercell is taking the time to create 30 gem skins. I really do appreciate that, and I really like that. But the reason why I'm saying this is because I wish that the prize for winning the first Duo Showdown 12 win challenge was a little bit of a bigger deal than just a 30 gem skin. There's a chance that they're going to be throwing some emotes in there that like they haven't showed us before. I don't know if that will happen. Maybe like a pin pack or something like that. I don't know. But on top of that, we will be getting this skin like an entire week before Warrior Bow is going to be available in the shop, which is pretty cool. But I think you guys can kind of understand where I'm coming from here. To be clear, I don't think the Warrior Bow should cost 80 gems, and I really appreciate that Supercell is taking the time to put 30 gem skins in the game. And I love 12 win challenges, so I'm really excited for that. I think it's awesome that Supercell's taking the time to put these challenges together. I want them every single month, which is basically what happens when we get the new Brawl Stars World Championship for 2021. I'm assuming. But the one thing that I am loving about this update is the fact that Supercell is animating all of the brawler pins. Obviously not all at once, but you get the idea. When pins first came out in Brawl Stars, I told you guys that I did not think that the pin packs were worth 30 gems. 3 pins for 30 gems, not worth it yet. When the pins first came out as static images, I knew it was only a matter of time before they got them animated, just like the emotes are animated in Clash Royale. That's why I've been buying pins every single week. I mean, obviously I'm gonna be buying them every single week as a Brawl Stars content creator, right? But it is a tax write-off for me, so you guys got to keep that in mind. Like when I gem like crazy on here, it's very different than somebody else gemming, and it creates content. It's my business, so you have to consider that when you're watching my gemming content. But I bought them knowing that someday they would be animated and would be worth having, and I think they've done a really great job with them so far, right? I think they're really fun. Terra's particularly are like kind of cute. I don't like that. I don't know what it is about it. I can only imagine that Brawl Stars is going to continue animating all of their pins, several brawlers at a time with each update, until eventually all of the brawlers have animated pins, and I'm excited about that. I think that adds a lot of personality to the game, and while you're playing mid-match, and you get to express those emotions, and I'm really glad they don't seem as toxic as Clash Royale emotes do. I don't know what it is about Clash Royale emotes, but they get me raging like no other emotes I've ever seen in any game, right? Now I wanted to talk about balance changes. I don't have much to say about balance changes because there were a ton of balance changes and I love it. I'm obviously not going to talk about each one individually. I'm personally one who loves having lots of balance changes in the meta and very frequently. I like that because it keeps the game fun and exciting. Now it would be nice if it didn't seem to happen like right after I finished my tier list videos, but I am planning on releasing a tier list video as soon as I think we've had enough time to accurately depict the current meta. So stay tuned for that. Make sure you guys subscribe for all Brawl Stars content. I make high quality Brawl Stars content sometimes. I really think that Supercell hit the ball out of the park with all these balance changes. There's so many and huge props to them for real. Now there were a bunch of other random changes this update, but the last thing I wanted to talk about before I rate this Brawl Stars update from 1 to 10 is Brawladays. Brawl Stars really crushed the holiday season out of the park this year as well with all of their gifts. Obviously we're getting some solid rewards with boxes, gold, power points, and things like that, but then we are getting some exclusive rewards like emotes. And then there's also the exclusive reward on the 24th that we haven't seen yet. I think it's going to be OG Brock, which would be pretty awesome. But the cherry on top, the most insane thing that I never would have predicted, I'm really good at predicting stuff in Brawl Stars, is that Supercell gave us Edgar, their newest brawler, an epic brawler, completely for free. That is insane. What other game developer is going to take their newest, hottest piece of content? Because let's be honest, people were excited for Byron. I was excited for Byron, but most people wanted to play Edgar. And then Supercell gives it to their players for free. All of their players from around the world. That is awesome. You've got to give Supercell huge props for that, and huge props to the developers for actually caring about their community. Supercell makes money every single time they release a new brawler, no matter what their rarity is, and them giving us an epic brawler for free is a hit to their revenue. We're talking a ton of money, a lot of money that they just gave to us That's awesome. Okay, now that we've talked about most of what we've got this update, I'm gonna rate this update on a scale from 1 being the worst to 10 being the best. And honestly, guys, I think that this was the best and biggest update for all of 2020. We've had some really awesome updates this year. Like a lot of really awesome updates, but at the same time we've also had like smaller updates with like one primary feature at a time. This update we got 2 new brawlers that are not chromatic brawlers and who are both very unique in comparison to like all the other brawlers in the game. They fit incredibly well within the Brawl Stars universe, and we got one of them for free. That's insane. Now, even though the end of season star point rewards are getting a nerf at the start, this change is going to lead to better matchmaking and an improved sense of progression, and eventually we'll be getting even more star point rewards later on down the road. Plus, Supercell listened to our feedback so that the initial hit won't be as bad as we originally planned on, and this is literally the largest set of balance changes that I think that Supercell has ever done in Brawl Stars ever. We also got the return of Present Plunder. Now, this update was not perfect in my opinion, but I do think that it was the best one that we've had all year, and for that, I do think that it deserves the 10 out of 10 rating. But I want to know what you guys would rate this update, okay? Maybe there's something that you think that I missed, or maybe something you really didn't like, or maybe something just killed it for you. Let me know in the comment section below, and don't forget to subscribe for more quality Brawl Stars content. Use code Kairos to the Brawl Stars shop, and for now, this is KairosTime ticking by, and we will see you in Brawl Stars.